A perfect childhood book to many from the 1930s, and although it came with some convincing, 30 years later was adapted to the silver screen. Jane and Michael are siblings with overly preoccupied parents who face the situation of getting a new nanny. They couldn't luck out anymore by getting a nanny with magical gifts who takes them on a wild and fantastic ride of adventures alongside the companionship of her friend Bert. It's a perfect lesson in what we forget about in everyday life, how we take things for granted, and that truly only one thing matters: family. Cue the Vin Diesel. I'm joking. You can edit that part out. Tonight, we get a spoonful of sugar, hoping that the medicine will go down as we do a discussion of sorts on the 1964 Walt Disney musical, Mary Poppins. This is a Comic Talkers production, and you are listening to a
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious
edition of Just Four Flicks. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B. With me, as always, it's Mr. B-Dog, Mr. Brandon. How we doing tonight?
I've had my spoonful of sugar.
Cool. Did the medicine go down?
Yeah, it did go down.
That's good to hear. What kind of medicine was it?
Yeah.
It's like good. Was it that good?
It's cantaloupe flavor, which doesn't have a flavor to
It's
me.
cantaloupe. Man, I was not expecting that at all. He caught me off guard. It's cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
It's cantaloupe.
And I'm chimney, shim shiroo. I'm ready to go.
I likes what I draw. Or I draws what I likes, and I likes what I drew.
I pitched this one to you after discussing when we were going to talk about musicals, because after rewatching Singing in the Rain, I realized I was on a lot of medication during that time when I watched that for the first time, and rewatching it again, I went, no.
Yeah, like this. Absolutely not. Let's not do this again.
Let's go to Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was any better for you, but you've already told me a little bit. We talked with your wife beforehand.
This movie was not it for me, man. A couple quick takeaways I just want to say. Terrible parenting to allow a rambunctious chimney sweeper to watch your children that you've never met in your life. Absolutely terrible fucking idea. Don't ever do it. As a parent, I'm a little offended. No,
that wasn't scripted whatsoever. Did you write that before?
What's that? I did. I actually wrote it in my notes. Right off. I did. I wrote it all. Yeah, I came prepared this time. I took notes. The family's neighbor is being extra with that ridiculous house they got. Nobody needs a steamship on the top of the house.
It's literally a castle in the sky. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I think this movie was the epitome of the kind of movies that Disney was making at the time, right? For the years that followed, obvious put together sets, cheesy acting, over the top dramatics. It's also for the fun of it. Obviously, there's those fun, quirky moments that we get. It's for the kids. I get it. When I was younger, I probably would have enjoyed this a lot more. But now, man, this was a rough watch. It does not need to be 2 hours and 22 minutes. I can tell you that much.
I agree with Taylor when we talked beforehand. For this coming from the guy who loves Hook. That's near the same time frame.
Okay, but Hook is more of a well-structured story, dude. What is this? I get it. Artistically, this movie's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, everything that's put together in Hook, the way that they were able to kind of mix in the prequel stuff in with the actual story and kind of combine it all. What is this? I get it. This won an Academy Award. Let's not take away from this movie, right? It won an Academy Award for visual effects.
Exactly.
So, I'm not hating on it. The movie's good. It's not for 30-year-old Patty B. is what I'm saying.
Payback's a
This is
bitch.
more like along the lines for like maybe this could pass in a 6-year-old Patty B. No, the animation's pretty cool, honestly.
It's a
When
good
was Go ahead.
it's a good movie that mixes in not only, um, animation, but it also mixes in live action with it, and it wasn't a lot during that time frame, at least.
Mhm.
There were some movies, but this kinda was, like, a step in the right direction for it, and
Mhm.
with that, we wouldn't have gotten movies like Bedpogs and Broomsticks. We wouldn't have gotten other movies, there's just a lot that
This
happened
movie
with this.
laid the foundation for what they would do in the future. I
Like,
think this was like that's why this movie seems like such a landmark. I mean, what we talk about it, we're
I'll put
talking
it
about
out
it now,
there.
what, 60 years later, right? 61 years
Yeah,
later.
I'll put it out there, and this might be a hot take. If it wasn't for Mary Poppins, I don't think we would have gotten Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Gonna put it
Yeah.
out there. I'll put it
Yeah.
out there. It because when you really look at it, this was one of the first times you had movies beforehand that makes animation and stuff, but
Mhm.
this is what kind of put more on the mark for them. This was
Yeah.
a mixture of animation and live action at the same time. And I'll put it out there. The penguins are one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing. The dance with him
Let's
and Dick
This
Van
kind of launched the career of Julie Andrews, right?
Oh, yeah, because Julie Andrews was more known as a Broadway actress. She
Yeah.
was not really known, and that's how Walt Disney found her was through them performing Camelot on Broadway, and so she
Mhm.
casted her. Dick Van Dyke kinda already had a career with the Dick Van Dyke Show during that time frame, but you will find out the writer of the book did not want Dick Van Dyke. She didn't want Julie Andrews either.
Yeah. It sounds from what I'm reading too, she seemed a lot more pickier than I guess maybe she, but she's also attached to that story because it's her story, right?
Yeah, well, you gotta remember, and I think that's a perfect way. It might not be always accurate, but the thing I would pitch to you, and I think we talked about it beforehand, you should really truly watch Saving Mr. Banks.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't
It's
get a
not
chance to watch
accurate
it. I just
complete
kind of read up on it a little bit, but
it's not accurate completely, but
okay.
most of the stuff that you get in there is pretty much the stuff that she was going through. And it kind of mixes in her personal story and kind of it pretty much like shows you throughout wh- why she made this character
Mhm.
and then why it means so much to her. And for her to do that, and Walt Disney, played by Tom Hanks, what a phenomenal pick. Tom Hanks, I don't think I have to really say much. Tom Hanks is Tom
I
Hanks.
don't think he misses when it comes to a semi-serious role or
Well,
serious role, right? I
well,
mean, he
even a
could be
true role. He played Mr. Rogers for crying out loud. Like the dude
I didn't see that. Did
oh,
you
it
see that?
is a good movie. That is probably
It
one
was
of
good?
like if we did a top 5 Tom Hanks, like top 5 Tom Hanks roles, Mr. Rogers would be up there for me.
No way, really?
It's really good. He plays a perfect I put this and my other one I put up there that might be kind of a sleeper pick is Otto from My Name or Man Named Otto.
Otto was pretty good, I'm
He
not gonna
was
lie. Did you watch
he
that
played a
new
fantastic old grumpy
did
man. Like,
did you watch that new one? It's the one with him and Robin Wright, where
yeah,
they
I've
live
seen
in a
parts
home.
of it. I didn't care for it as
It
much.
was kind of a cool concept. It kinda told you the story. It's basically the story about, like, where they lived and, like, you see it.
What if Jenny and Forrest Gump lived happy ever lived?
Man, I know, and that's
Jenny
why
still the worst villain, still one of the biggest villains in cinema
biggest
history.
villains of all time. Close second is probably gonna be Rose from Titanic.
And the third one's Mrs. Lovett,
Mrs. Lovett from
Sweeney Todd.
yeah,
She's a villain, easily.
she's a villain, but I
She
don't know if
is a villain. Like she
yeah,
is a huge. I mean, we've talked about in Sweeney Todd, but you guys haven't seen this. We did do a whole episode on it for musicals. She is the full-on villain. She is the one that
she
causes Sweeney
feeds
Todd to go on her
people,
murderous
human
rampage.
meat pies.
Yeah,
Fantastic
and
stuff.
she's the one that gets them on that run. But let's go into it, Pat. Okay, we're gonna start off with my famous question, Pat. Let's do our little jingle. You ready?
Let's do it.
What was the budget? Um,
Well, so I I prepared because
you're a
I was I was thinking because of the time that this was made, it's got to be a lower budget. Money was a lot differently in '64, I would assume. So I'm gonna go ahead with a modest amount of $600,000.
add another zero to it.
6 million.
$6
Really?
million estimated.
What a jip. I was looking it up. The most of this movie was only filmed. I think probably a lot of it came from the animation. Then maybe that's what a lot of the budgeting came from.
Yeah, most of the
Because
filming was shot, like you said, in Burbank.
in Burbank, and I think it was only about a 4-month filming process, but the animation is what took the longest.
Yeah, you gotta remember
Animation,
animation was still, I wouldn't say new during that time frame, but it was some of that. You gotta remember for how much they put into that and the mixture of live action and that together too, and all that. It's just a lot. And you gotta remember too, some of these actors are big names. You got Dick Van Dyke during this time, which was like we said, doing the Dick Van Dyke show. And that
yeah.
was a popular show. You had what's his face that played Mr. Banks. He was a big name actor too. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I got it right here though. So let me go look it up. David Tomlinson. Tomlinson, my apologies. He was another big name actor. But you got to remember for how much work they put into this and everything they had for this, it just there was a lot going on.
You could tell there's a lot more craftsmanship involved in this, right?
And Walt Disney cared about this because of how hard he tried to get this made.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd been trying, since pretty much since the inception of the story, maybe
The
a couple of years after
Yeah, his
it
daughters
was
really loved
released.
it and he wanted it. And so
Yeah.
he got it. And then that's why I said, like, you would love the movie. And that's why I pitched it to you because, like, the
Mhm.
scene with PT and Walt or Emma Thompson and and Tom Hanks, when they're just sitting there, he takes them like on this, just like this tour of Disneyland to like calm her nerves and everything and talk with her just one on one. It is a very powerful thing what they go through. And that and Paul Giamatti's role in that as the driver for her is phenomenal. I thought it was great casting for all the picks they had. BJ Novak from and
Office.
BJ Novak and what's his face from Rushmore? The main character.
Jason Schwartzman?
Yeah, they're the Sherman brothers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's why I said like the cast alone, Colin Farrell's in it. There's a lot of people in this movie that you wouldn't think of, and it actually works really well.
I need to check that movie out. What's funny is
The score is phenomenal. I will put the score up
before
there.
before getting into this movie or before we decided on I didn't really think too much into it, so I looked it up and, I was doing the research one night and I saw that, the Mr. Banks movie was connected to this story, and for some reason, I thought it was just like I don't know why. I guess I thought it was just kinda like a code name for Walt Disney, maybe, I guess, and so that's why I thought that movie was about Walt Disney. At least the marketing I it came out when did that movie come out? Like 10 years ago? Probably more than that, 15 years ago?
Which one are you talking about?
Saving Mr. Banks?
It was I was after I wanna say it was about 2014 timeframe.
It's about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, when it came out, I thought for some reason it was more about, like, Walt Disney, and I didn't know about Mary Poppins enough or the background story behind Mary Poppins enough to know about this story or what that movie was about. So, that's on that's just me not watching it and not knowing what it was about, but, um, I definitely need to check it out because it seems like it gives a more real outlook to the story, right?
Mhm.
And like you're saying, it shows that sounds like a fantastic cast. Like
It
BJ
is.
Novak, and I like Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman, Tom
He's
Hanks.
actually in a really good movie. I think it's called Mountainhead
Yep.
on I just watched it the other night. Fantastic.
And he plays a perfect villain too. You know who he plays the villain of? Well, he plays it in Scott Pilgrim, but he's Spot in the new Spider-Verse movie, the one that just came out a couple years ago.
Okay.
He's the
He's a
main
good
villain.
voice actor. He's got a
Yes.
good voice. I mean, because he's also in Mr. Fox, and I believe
Yep.
he's
I
also
forget
in
he's in
Isle
that
of
one.
Dogs too.
Yeah, well,
Huh?
you gotta remember he's a Wes Anderson usual too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Isn't he in the newest one too with them? The
The
one with
Phoenician Scheme?
yeah, the one with Del
You
Toro in it?
know, I don't think he's in it, no, but I need to watch that. I have not. Have you watched it yet?
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, I gotta check it out. Maybe next time we record, we'll review on it or whatever.
Yeah, but going into this movie, I was presently shocked. It's been I wanna say I was about 9, 10 years old when I watched this. Now, Saving Mr. Banks, I've watched more recently and really enjoyed the movie. And it gave me like an appreciation for it a little bit more that made me want to go back and watch it. So that's kind of why I pitched it to you to
Mhm.
do it. And going back and rewatching it, it's still a fun movie. I get it. I know, like with you, which kind of shocks me because you are a dad. You have 2 kids. And to me, I was like, okay, your kids would get into this really quickly because it's eye grabbing. That's what it does. It's supposed to grab your attention. It's supposed,
Yeah.
hey, I can actually snap my fingers, not like, you know, um, not like what's his face? Michael. I can snap, not like Mike, but
Yeah, yeah.
but when you're a jet, you're a jet. But
Kinda sound like Macho Man. "When you're a jet,
you're
you're
a
a
jet.
jet. Oh, yeah. Well, take your last dying breath, I tell you, yeah."
Um, but that's
God dang it, man.
we're never gonna that's gonna
Don't
be a
round me up.
regular
Don't
joke on
round
our
me up.
podcast. Now it's like, when you're a jet, you're a jet.
"You're a jet. Step into a Slim Jim,
You know
yeah."
that J in our
You
name, instead of being just, it's gonna be Jet for life. Or Jet for flicks.
Dude, that's what the episode should have been called was
Jet for
Jet
flicks.
for Flicks. That would've been funny as dude.
Uh, but that's why I said going into this movie, I was pleasantly surprised how much I was even laughing through the film. And it's not because of the corniness. And I get where you're coming from. It's corny at points, but you got to
Super cool.
remember the time frame this movie was made. The time frame the movie was made in the 60s. For us, we're not going to look at that the same way as most. But it still was fun and it's still
Yeah,
entertaining.
well, one thing, and this is one of my likes that, I could take away from it, was it is a perfect kid movie, right?
It is.
Especially for this time.
Even though there is some adult humor in it, I get it.
There is adult humor, but I think in this time frame too, in movies nowadays, they depending on who does them, they can do a good job at hiding stuff like that. And also, when we're kids, there's a lot of stuff. I can't tell you how many times I say this where you know, watching a movie, we've said it before on the show too, where watching a movie as a kid is a lot different from when you watch it as an adult because you pick up on a lot of different things. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've watched a movie that I loved growing up and being like watching it as an adult and taking away the adult humor from it and being like, what? Like, they were talking about that, like, oh my God, that's what they're referring. Like, it's just, it's very clever. Not saying that they're being clever about it because realistically they're putting it out there. It's just for you to interpret it however you interpret it. Yeah, I just think the way this movie flows, I mean, it's a perfect kid movie. The with the kid interaction, I think the music is really good. That's the music alone, I think, is probably the biggest takeaway from this movie. Could you agree?
Yes. The
Yeah.
the music stands out. Through this whole film, I did not find myself having a dull moment, humming to the song, singing
Yeah.
to the song.
Well, it's just like this. Like, you can't say like, "Oh, one of my favorite scenes of all time is this scene in Mary Poppins." No, the one thing you're gonna take from Mary Poppins is
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Thank
Come
you,
on.
thank you. I thank you, dude. I'm struggling, dude. I'm
Yeah, you're
struggling.
not saying that word. We're banning you from saying that word,
I'm
okay?
I'm okay with that. What I'll do is I'll just make I'll like what I'll do?
The S
Perfect
word.
control of
Yeah,
doing like
the
this.
S word.
But,
Oh, he
yeah,
said a
man,
dirty
no.
wordy.
The music alone from this, I think it just makes it stand out. I mean, I was actually checking this out before we recorded just to kind of get fired up a little bit. And I was listening to the soundtrack. It's not terrible.
No, it's not.
Um, one thing you do got to take away is the music sounds a lot different than what it does now, right? You can't not every musical can have bangers from Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Or
especially
from Sweeney Todd or from West Side Story. Come on
yeah,
now. When you're a
man.
jet, you're a jet.
Your left day breath.
but but that's the good point of this.
Well, hold on. What is he? He's I likes what I draw, and I I draws what I like,
Lick
and I like what I draw.
draw. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You imagine Macho Man Randy Savage dancing like Dick Van Dyke with the penguins?
Oh yeah. Man, I need some shade, dude. I need the arm tassels. Is what I need.
Yeah. But no, that's why I said this movie, you bring up a good point. The movie is so well done with the music. When you really get into let's go down the list, shall we, of ones that we do
Yeah,
remember. Spoonful of Sugar.
I'm gonna pull the soundtrack too while we're
Yeah,
at
you
it. I
got
have it right here.
Spoonful of Sugar, Chim Chimney.
Yep.
You got I'm pulling it up
Spoonful of
to
Sugar, Pavement Artist is the first Chim Chimney. That's when he's
yeah.
dancing around with his art, which, by the way, that's some pretty cool ass artwork. That I don't know if you kind of looked at it.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know it's not important, but I liked it. Um,
You have supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
mhm.
Yes, I'm gonna get faster at it each time I do it.
Stay Awake.
Yep. Jolly Holiday, you have Let's
Let's
Go
Go
Fly
Fly
a
Kite.
Kite,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Like there's so many songs. Even the whatever you want to call it, Fiduciary Bank song. It's catchy. It kind of is. I don't like the bank, but it's
N-
catchy.
What did you? I kind of liked, and I
I
like.
love to laugh too. That was another good one to me. The one
Well, I like how in movies, if they can pull it off, it's great when an actor does multiple roles in a movie, and
and
that's what we see from Dick Van Patten, or I said Dick Van Patten,
Dick
Dick
Van
Van Dyke.
Dyke. Yeah,
Yeah, wrong Dick. Um,
good old Uncle Dick. Um,
isn't Dick Van Patten the king in Spaceballs?
yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go into it, Pat. What were moments that you? Let's actually go into moments you actually liked in the film before we go to things you
Well,
disliked.
like I said, I like the chimney.
Chim
I'm gonna look
chimney,
that
chim chimney, chim chim sharoo.
up. Yeah. All those songs are great. I like those scenes mixed in with it. Him dancing drunkly around the fountain is fun. Like I can't believe that too, because now every time I'm gonna watch this, which will probably not be very often, I am gonna just think about what you told me before we got on the air about how he was notorious, Dick Van Dyke was, for drinking on set and being intoxicated in his scenes. Because now that you told me that, I'm just now thinking of this guy just being absolutely hammered doing this movie, and it just makes it funner for me.
Well,
So
that's
I
the rumor
appreciate that.
because
You can
my
almost tell that he's having such a great. I'm watching this right now, and it just seems like he's having such a fantastic time doing this movie.
but you got to remember, and that's a rumor. I've heard this rumor for a while that because during the Dick Van Dyke show, there were a lot of scenes where you knew he was drunk. But you got to remember that's how he gets that goofy side out of him. Because when you watch him in any other stuff from here on out, he's not really drunk. He's not really crazy. He's not really doing stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
he's in Diagnosis Murder. Yeah, he has a few funny scenes, but it's not like the biggest thing. Like he's still a good actor. That's not knocking him. It's actually he's still a good actor, and he does play two roles in this as Bert and the bank owner. I can't remember his name. I can't remember.
not important.
Yeah,
It's bank guy.
but let's go. Like I think one of my things I enjoyed about the film, well, other than the boat on the house that explodes cannons and then chases off the chim sweepers during their song.
Yep.
That's and then mopping the house windows. That was stupid too, but
Yeah. I think it's more towards the end, but when they're all on the rooftop, all the chimney guys,
and then
right?
that's when they're firing the fireworks at him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really enjoy that scene a lot.
Bert hits one back at him.
Mhm. I would think too, it seems, and I'm from watching this, it has really good costume designs
It
for this
does.
movie,
It does.
right?
The
It just
colors
makes
on Mary Poppins alone. Like to
oh,
me,
oh,
let me tell you this right now. I don't want this to happen, but in the case they do, there's one director, and we've talked about him a lot on here, that I could see if they remade this, he would have a fun time doing it. Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson, right?
Wes Anderson. The colors
Well, and
alone speaks volumes. Like,
it's too bad he does. I think he only does original
yeah,
stories.
he does. He does. But
He doesn't really do adaptations.
well, wasn't Mr. Fantastic Foss?
Oh yeah, Mr. Fox is a Roald Dahl.
Yeah. That's what I said. He does do some stuff, but it's not normal for him to do it. He's mostly
Mhm.
regular films. But that there alone, going into it more, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the story progression Because you know the whole purpose of why Mary Poppins is there. Mary Poppins is there to pretty much unite the family too. You got to remember that. That's the purpose of it. That's why she's so voluntary. Like, you take the kids, you volunteered her.
Mhm.
You're going. She is officially the super nanny that we see on TV. Okay, she's the one going in there and telling them how to parent, and not only that, how the kids should be acting. And to see that, like, there was a couple scenes that I went, okay, that's kind of weird. Like how she was like, I don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing. Like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, whatever, just move on. It's just a small part. But just all the stuff that she is about, like, I love how the kid's like, oh, she's a witch. She's not a witch, she don't have a broom. It's like it's like laughing so hard.
Yeah. Click them heels 3 times.
That's Dorothy though. She
Yeah.
ain't no witch.
Yeah, I guess we're not in Kansas anymore, are we?
We're in London, dude.
Yeah, we're in London.
No place like London.
Could you imagine a crazy crossover between this and Sweeney Todd?
And Harry Potter. Got it. And Diagon
Dude,
Alley.
I hope Mr. Banks just walks into Sweeney Todd's barber, just take care of it.
Wow! Don't be a dick like that. Come on out.
He's a deadbeat dad. No, I'm joking.
Oh, I don't even beat on him that much. The mom was so
The
effing
mom is terrible.
the
Well, like I
mom is
said,
terrible, worse than the
like I said,
dad.
absolutely irresponsible to leave your kids with an unknown stranger, dude. Absolutely irresponsible. I mean, because
Mr.
I think.
Banks, you see, like, I'll put it out there, Mr. Banks, even though the kids and Mary Poppins are the main focus of the movie, it's
Mhm,
Mr. Banks whose story progression changes the most. Because mind you, he's been so focused on his job. He's so focused on everything in his life that he's worked towards.
mhm,
But now he has to have a change of thought because of how he's not really part of his kid's life. He passes them off. He does everything right. He doesn't really do it. So you got to remember, and I will always put this kind of like fan theory out there. I don't think the movie's about the kids and Mary Poppins. I think the
mhm.
story's about Mr. Banks. And I think you get that through saving Mr. Banks because
It's almost kinda about the kids too, just because I don't think without the kids, you wouldn't get that structure to Mr. Banks's character as much.
I
Does that make sense?
like
Like, the
it,
attachment of the kids or the kids being a factor in his life?
well, you got to remember it was the kids that made him turn and look at things differently. It was
Yeah,
the kids that so that's where I said, and watching Saving Mr. Banks is why I tell you you should watch that movie because it will explain why Mr. Banks is really technically the main character. You got to
okay.
remember, like Mr. Banks, it's so pure in what it is. He is, that's why I said he again, just like most people, and I hate to say it out in the world, there are a lot of people like that that's focused on their jobs, they're focused on their careers. That's exactly what Mr. Banks is. And now having that changing moment, which by the way, Dick Van Dyke, don't ever steal money from kids again. Please don't. Don't you ever do it again. Like the way he grabs it from Michael. And he's don't take my money, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, somebody's taking money from somebody. Oh, and it turns into a whole shabackle. It's 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 just one of those things. I was like, trust the banks. And I'm like, okay, where's Alexander Hamilton here? You know, Did you get that Boston Tea Party reference in the movie too that they talked about?
No,
You
no.
didn't get that reference?
Well, I don't know if I paid attention to it. I
That
might have
was there in
been.
the last scene with Mr.
Yeah.
Banks being kind of summoned to the offices at the bank. The thing is here to me that the story, I really like the character development for Mr. Banks.
Mhm.
I get it, the kids are the main focus, but to me, Mr. Banks is the main focus of the story. He is the one that's turning his life around.
Would you say that Mary Poppins' adventure with the kids in this movie is kind of a distraction from the Mr. Banks?
Yes. Because you got
Yeah.
to remember who's setting him in line too. It's not his
Mhm.
wife, it's Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is the one telling him, well, you could take him out. You go do this. You go do
Yeah.
that. she's still trying to, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but you got to still be part of your kid's life. You still got to be here and be present. And Mary Poppins is the one that does it. Like, I'm gonna put one more scene out here before I forget this. Okay, one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. I love the chimney sweep scene. One of my favorite movies. But I want to talk about when Mary Poppins arrives and how the wind blows all these nannies away. Is one of the funniest things you can actually know. And I'm curious if you knew this. And I was reading on this. You know, they actually weren't all women.
Oh, really?
Most of them were men in drag.
Oh, that's funny.
So I can only imagine the one that's all sprawled out with legs and arms. That was one of the funniest ones that I couldn't
It
stop
shows
laughing.
kind of how terrible of a person Mary Poppins is, just trying to get rid of her competition like that. It's not fair, dude.
You imagine Nanny McPhee and her together.
Okay, bro, I'm so glad you brought that up because I thought about this before. I mean, like, what a duel that would be. And first off, that seems kind of like a ripoff from this movie, doesn't it?
Mary, well, what are you talking about? Nanny McPhee is a ripoff from Mary
Yeah,
Poppins?
yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
like, you can't put it the other way around because, man,
No, 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 no. I'm talking.
yeah,
I'm talking. Nanny McPhee is a ripoff
oh,
from
Mary Poppins.
of Mary Poppins.
But that's the same thing. You got to remember that movie too. It's exactly the same plot somewhat. The kids are misbehaving. There's a difference, right? But the thing is, when you really look at it, it's still the character development of the father, not the
Yeah.
kids. The kids change, but it's the father who needs to be there more present for them. And
Mhm.
P.L. Travers, when you get into her history, you will understand what I mean. Because when you watch that movie and you learn more about her, you will see exactly the kids and Mr. Banks in her position. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Okay. But let's go into the things you disliked.
Well,
I
I
know there's
mean,
probably a lot because knowing you, you can't watch a good animated live action film without having
man,
complaints.
dude. I just don't think this movie really like holds up in my opinion.
You know
Like,
what?
I
You
don't know.
don't hold up, you mother trucker.
I probably don't, to be honest with you. I would imagine I don't. So yeah. I'm in that kind of mood tonight. All right. You're pushing all my
Well,
buttons.
it didn't help that Taylor and I pushed your buttons before the.
You guys got me fired up before this thing. I was ready to go.
Oh
So,
man, you love us
no,
both.
uh, as visually stunning as this movie is, I don't think it holds up. One thing I really dislike about it, and this is always like a gripe, and it's only a gripe when it comes to certain movies, and this one falls perfectly in that category of just like it doesn't need to be this long. It just doesn't. There's a lot of filler stuff in between that I just find
Okay,
unnecessary.
so I'm gonna piggyback off that. Why do you what are the scenes that you feel are filler scenes that you could take out?
Well, like the bank scene, I don't get it. Like, I mean, I
Well,
don't,
you
not that I don't get it, but it's just like I don't like just certain things like that. Um, what was it? I don't think we need to
well,
score. Like, I don't think we need for what is it? Is it Ben? Not Ben. Bert. I don't think we need two scenes with Bert in the square, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's multiple times where we're seeing kind of like the same thing or the same set. It seems like I'm like, why are we like,
so
or it's like some scenes drag too much.
so let me piggyback on both of those for you. The bank, I even though I agree with you in some areas, it was necessary. The reason is because that's what changes Mr. Banks's perception.
Okay.
So you got to remember that. Without that bank scene, I get it. It's one of the most boring scenes in the whole movie, but it was necessary. Why? Because it sets up what Mr. Banks is about to go through and how his character changes. Um, Bert, you got to remember, for the most part of it, he is the narrator of the story. He is the one that's making you go through this. He's the one that introduces you to the family in the beginning of the film. He does all this, and he knows Mary Poppins. So from a previous thing, which I kind of like it because I know you said you also watched Mary Poppins Returns,
Yeah.
and that's Lin Manuel Miranda because you also saw him also state, yeah, I know her as well. Like there's there's always like a thing like it's kind of like that's why I said she's the super nanny. She's the one that's going around just like the TV show used to do and help out with parents and kids. Exactly what she is.
She's a super nanny.
That's where they get the inspiration of the show for.
You know, and I did not mind the sequel. I really didn't.
The sequel, Emily Blunt was really good, and I get tired of people saying it's a remake. It's not a remake. It's a sequel.
Love I love her accent. Like,
Well,
I know she's already British, but, like, just I think the way she carries herself in the movie and the way she has, like, almost like this British, but, like, transatlantic,
I agree.
uh, accent to it a tad. Like, it's a little bit more like, I don't know, it just sounds really good. Like, she just sounds really good. Uh, Lin-Manuel, I mean, you can't go wrong with Lin-Manuel Miranda,
But
right?
but I feel like with I think this is kind of like to me his start of his decline a little bit with Disney because after that we had a couple movies with him that he did worked on music and stuff, and then after that he kind of went to and we don't see much with him in it with Disney anymore because
Who?
he did not write the songs for Moana 2. He did not write any of those
Yeah.
stuff. So like the last one he was known for doing for him was Encanto, which Encanto was popular. And I think he did Wish as well, but I can't remember if he actually did it
He did. He wrote songs for it.
because I know Ariana DeBose's main song in that movie, which again, another Hamilton, alum.
Alumni,
Yeah.
yeah.
She sings the main song, which I think Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote that one. So that's what I said. But going back to the dislikes, I think there's a couple scenes I didn't care for. The one of the scenes, and I love this scene. I kind of feel like this to me is if you said that was a filler part, I can understand it more. Was the laugh scene where they're up high, or was it Uncle Albert?
Yes.
I like that scene. I do. But if you want to talk filler parts of the movie and you want to trim something out, that'd have been one of the first ones I would have trimmed out. And I hate saying it like that, but I get it. It's also part of the story. That's why I said watch it. I know I keep on telling you that, but watch that movie because if when you see that scene and you watch that movie, you're gonna understand what that's referenced to.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not gonna tell you everything, but I will tell you you'll know what it's referenced to.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not spoiling
Don't
it.
spoil it.
But it is. But if you want to talk about something you could trim, that would be one of them. Um, the stupid admiral scenes you could have cut out. I didn't like those
Yeah.
scenes. Those are stupid scenes. I get it. It's supposed to be comedical relief. It just was like, hey, at least I didn't have to buy an alarm clock. I got woke
And
up every day at this such and such time.
I just feel like there's just some scenes where, like, when you're just watching it, like I said, the bank scene, like, I know it's important, but I think it just I don't know, it just seems kinda, like, bland, and maybe it's also, like, it's not meant to be a joyful place, right? It's not meant to be like an uppity mood or a uppity mood, you know how, like, everything else is
Well, again,
has
remember
animation, it
Mr.
has
Banks.
colors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mr. Banks, exactly to the T.
Yeah, so no, I get why it's important, but at the same time, just stuff like that in this movie just drags for me
It,
at the end of the day. And I know that's a typical thing that I say when it comes to my disliking, but I mean, I think it just runs perfectly with this too, because I'm already not a big animation fan. I love this movie for what it is, but at the same time, it's just I think me watching it older just kind of like I realized I don't probably need to watch this movie again.
but see, I
As I'm not trying to sound harsh here, because
I'm not. You're
I think
not.
it's a great movie. I just don't see myself needing to watch this movie again.
You know, one of the scenes I know we haven't really talked about was when they jump into the mural on the street. We have not
Mhm.
really talked about that because I know you brought that up. Like you liked the pictures, you liked how they drew them, you liked how they did everything.
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool. It was just a creative thing. I mean, we were talking earlier, we might have been on the air, but everything was just so there's so much more craftsmanship involved this time,
Yeah.
right? Just with everything in the world. Like houses back then were built way better than they are today. Just stuff was made with higher quality, with craftsmanship, with enthusiasm, I guess you'd say. A little bit more your work was rewarding.
Yeah.
You know, what you liked what you did, and I think this movie is a perfect example of that.
Well,
There's a lot of I think the detail in a lot of the scenes is fantastic, or in a lot of the sets, so to speak. So,
we got to remember
man, what
Walt Disney had a lot to say in this. And you got to
oh, I bet.
remember, like, having this, when Walt Disney did jobs like this, he was like 110% in it. He was not going to lose sight. And I think
Mhm.
that's why he was so like, he wants to bring the story to the screen. And to have that, it's, like we said, it's just really good to have. Now, going to the mural scene again, let's talk about it. We have them jumping into the mural, you know, that's where I feel like a lot of that budget went to was that scene alone. And to see like him dancing with the penguins, him and her marching through the or dancing through the landscape area, the kids on the merry-go-round, them going to the horse race, which by the way, when you're in a horse race, I don't think I be stopping to let somebody pass me. Say, "Oh, can I get pie?" And then, "Oh yeah," all of a sudden, like I'm like, and I love how she reminded me. You ever watch The Office? You remember the scene when they're doing the fun run and they were like, "Oh yeah, we ran," and then they get out of the taxi car and run out the car and get to the finish line because they're all sitting there drinking beer. You're like, "Oh, we got about another 20 minutes before he gets to the finish line. Okay, another round." It's, having that scene where she just jumps over the gate and she
Yeah.
sits there and just even them hunting the fox. I was like, okay, this is so we're on a hunt, and then Bert's in there like, oh, I gotta go save him, and he sits there and he picks him up, and like, the beagles, and they're just, and I'm like, just shut up, like my dog. Every time, my dog Levi, every time he heard those dogs bark, where it's coming from, his eyes were all wide, like he looked like a little tweaker dog, but
She looks like a little
he looked like a
a
fucking
little creature
chicken
dog.
dog. Have you ever seen my dog Levi? Literally, his eyes are like every time he hears something.
He's on one.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's like he's got tweaker eyes, or he's got crazy eyes, is what we call them. But he, but going back to the movie, that the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is by far one of the most recognizable songs from this. That
I
is,
think it's the recognizable song.
yes, like when you top
Insane.
three, that is like number one. Like
Yeah, 100%.
it's a very catchy song. It's a very high beat song. It keeps you going. Everything. Here's the other thing I want to bring up. If you want to talk about fillers, it's the bird scene, the bird lady scene. I get why that was a big thing, but
Mhm.
I just felt like that song dragged for me for how
Gotcha.
upbeat and the songs were going. I get you have to have a couple slow songs in it, but that was one I was like, okay, what's the purpose of this? And I get it. And you see that Mr. Banks gets the reference now what they were saying at the end of the movie. But I was like, okay, that was, it's there. Like I just didn't care about it. But the going back to that scene, having that, and then going to the chimney scene, which was one of my favorite scenes. I know you said you kind of thought it was corny for the kids to go up the chimney the way they
Dude, so in that scene when you're watching and the kids go up the chimney, it's literally like look at the kids when they come out, but it's fake. They're like mannequins. They're fake
dude,
dolls or
it
whatever.
is the 60s. The
I
technology wasn't
don't
around.
care. I don't care because when I see stuff like that, I automatically am like, oh,
It's not like
that looks I know it's terrible, but I'm like, it looks sloppy or it
it's not like
just doesn't look.
it's not like Fahrenheit 451, the original one they made, where you see the dude's jetpacks literally on strings.
It's like in her what is Anchorman when Jack Black punts
Yeah,
Baxter and
and it's just a little ragdoll
it's a stuffed
toys.
animal.
That's why I said, like,
So I mean, stuff like that exists in movies. It's not in just this movie. I'm just saying it was like it just stood out so much to me when I was watching. I'm like, "Ha,
Wh-
that's
But
not real.
we know
That's
now
so
when
fake."
Pat sees this, Pat's not gonna like what was it? Pat's not gonna like fake stuff. Yep, there's a mannequin. Yep. Oh, dude, I don't even want to do the movie Mannequin with you because now
Got
you're gonna be like
mannequin alert.
the one with
Like, oh, we got a mannequin alert.
what was it? You know the movie I'm talking about, the one where they're in the mall and she's a mannequin that can turn into a human.
Oh, you know what my favorite movie is? It's kind of mannequin-y, but The Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I can see why you like that.
That's a good
It
movie.
is.
I was
It's
one of
decent.
I was
It,
it's cheese. It's not good. Like a lot of people didn't like that movie, but it's a
you're
guilty
gonna
pleasure
call
of mine.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen fake when he sits there. Oh, he's putting cream on his face. Like, oh, now we know where he is. Like, no, this is why I said this movie is iconic to me in the way, and I agree with what you said in the beginning. It is the music. The music is what carries this movie, and it just, I get it. There are going to be points that, and I get where you're coming from. It's a movie that's maybe not for you. It's a movie
No.
that's more for kids, and it is targeted
Yeah.
towards kids.
Yep.
But I wanted to pitch this to you because we've done some dark stories. Okay, we did Sweeney Todd. We did West Side Story that ends in a dark theme. And then you also had In the Heights, which isn't dark, but it deals with more complex issues. I figured
Mhm.
let's do a movie about kids and about a story that's more towards kids.
Let's do a more wholesome,
Let's do a more wholesome movie. Exactly.
wholesome story. Yeah.
And you want me to take the other shots I enjoyed? I love the shot when Mr. Banks is walking to the bank. At
Yeah.
the end, those shots, man, are just great shots of the
And that goes to the bank scene. Like, is that what you were kind of referring
like
to
when
right
he's
there?
walking through the park and he's got all the lights on
Well,
him and stuff.
even going into the bank, like the architecture in the bank is beautiful.
Yeah,
Like
it
it's
made me think of Gringotts for some reason. It's,
yeah,
it's exactly it.
yeah.
I was
I don't know why I think of Catch Me If You Can when he's in the
yeah,
train
I
station.
forget
Like
about
I
that.
don't know why
Yeah,
I thought that too when I was watching it. Um, yeah, no, that's there's the set pieces in this movie are just fantastic. Like it really it just captures what this movie is supposed to be,
right.
right? And another thing was the costumes, like we said earlier, the costumes are especially Mary Poppins
Oh yeah,
costume,
the costumes
iconic.
pop off her.
Like
The blue
I
is
see
to me what
people,
flatters her, I think, out of all of them. The one when she's in the blue coat and everything, I always thought that always flattered her because I was glad they brought it back for Emily Blunt's version.
yeah.
I thought that was perfect. And
Well,
going back to her in the second one, right? I don't think you have any other actresses other than one that you could have put in this position. You probably know who the other one is. And we
with
have done a movie with her in it this month for another musical. Helen,
Helena Bonham.
exactly. She would have been perfect for that role too.
Yep.
She's that spontaneous, that fun, but yet can be serious actress. And Emily Blunt, I'm not knocking her. Emily Blunt was a great casting choice, but if you didn't get her, Helena would have been the first one I would have went to.
Yeah.
She's proven herself as a singer. She has proven herself as a lot of things, and I think she would have been perfect for that. But that would have been my top two. I would have not gone to anybody else. So, but I don't know. That's what I said. Like, what's, but I'm gonna still put it out there. Favorite choreography: Dick Van Dyke and the Penguins. Still one of my favorite things of the movie is when the penguins come out like like all fast paced and they're like, well, it's like those scenes alone just make you smile. And when Dick Van Dyke pulls his pants down and starts waddling like him, that was fun to watch. Like you could tell just how much fun they had making this film. That's why I said this movie is just a really good movie. I enjoy it. I know Pat, you probably won't as much. I'm not.
What was crazy too is one thing I wanted to say is this movie did not introduce me to Julie Andrews. In fact, movie do you think it was
Sound of
that
Music or
introduced me?
Princess Diaries.
Princess Diaries, 100%. I love that movie. I mean, that's what introduced us all to Anne Hathaway. Still a crush of mine.
But let's go into it, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10 supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, How many supercalifragilisticexpialidocious this song or points are you giving
Does
us?
this movie get for me?
Yeah, or I'll make it simpler for you. From 1 to 10 penguins, how many are you giving it?
Uh,
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I'm giving this. Man, you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm giving this probably gonna be one of my lowest ratings I've done. I'm gonna give this movie a 4.8. It's whatever.
Whatever. Fans, if you
It's
disagree with
I'll
that, please add at Patrick. Give it another chance because I would be loving to sit down and actually
I don't need
watch
to
it
give
with
it
him.
a chance. I've got my mind
Pat,
here.
I'll put it out there to the fans. Fans, if you guys want us to do how we used to do watch longs, I would love to sit down and watch it with Pat and
Not
literally
for 2
sit
hours.
there and watch it for 2 hours with him in 19 minutes and sit there and watch why Pat hates it. And I will critique him every which way.
And I'll get drunk.
I won't get drunk.
But
I'll
if
be
you
the
want to
sober
see
one.
it happen, let's hear it in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. I'm down. I'm down
You
for it.
know, and
I'm not down, but I'm
I
down.
can't give you much crap because if I would have judged this 10 years ago, 15 years ago before Saving Mr. Banks and all that, I probably would have given it near the same score as you.
Yeah.
But watching that and understanding the story more in the metaphor sense and everything like that as well, I'd probably give it a good I give it a good solid 8.3. It is a great musical. Like you said, when you think of musicals, this is the first one that songs pop in your head. It's the first one that you go, yep, I know that song. I know Spoonful of Sugar. It helps the medicine
Yeah.
go down. Like you have all,
It helps the medicine go down.
but that's exactly what you think of. The music stands out in this film. Julie Andrews, this was the movie that kind of put her more on the map. Without this, we wouldn't have gotten her in movies like Sound of Music. We wouldn't have gotten her in other movies like that. We wouldn't have gotten her in Princess Diaries. So how dare you rank it so low? Because you know you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for that movie. But
Yeah.
we wouldn't even have her in the Tooth Fairy with The Rock. Okay, I'm putting it out there. Yeah, come at me, fans. I love that movie. I enjoy that movie.
You like The Rock?
Oh, I like him in that movie. That's one of my favorite movies. Why? Because he looks so ridiculous in it. But that's exactly why. And by the way, Ashley Judd, great in that film.
Yeah, I just watched Double Jeopardy a couple nights ago.
And also,
Fantastic.
and on top of it, Billy Crystal and Julie Andrews, great duo. Enjoy him. And Stephen Merchant, even better.
Look at you, all these thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Very underrated movie, very hated on movie, and I enjoy the hell out of it.
What's the movie again?
Tooth Fairy.
What?
Tooth Fairy. Don't tell
I'll
me
check
you
it.
have never seen Tooth Fairy.
Probably haven't.
Fans, if you want me to put Patrick through Tooth Fairy soon, please let us know in the comments. I would love to do a month where we talk about wrestlers' movies or becoming movie actors, and that is the movie I would give you.
Oh, you're talking. For some reason, I didn't hear that part. I heard The Rock, and I immediately thought of the Nicolas Cage movie from
No, The Rock, the
with,
Dwayne The
with
Rock
Sean Connery.
Johnson.
Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. The Rock says, "Yeah, know your
The
role,
Rock.
shut your mouth." I get it.
Close your
Uh,
mouth, shut your mouth. You don't know. You want to know what the Brock is cooking? You smell what the Brock is cooking?
I'm gonna lay B Dog down to the SmackDown Hotel.
What's your name? Huh?
It doesn't matter what your name is.
But let's go into it now. We've been kind of cutting back on the trivia questions, but because of this movie, and because his wife kind of gave me a heads up before we start recording, I came up with trivia questions for him just to really piss him off. Okay, see how many you actually know. I'm going to start you off easy, and I'm going to go to hard. That did not
Okay.
sound right, but we're going to go with it. Okay.
I'm gonna get you nice and hard.
Okay. What are the names of the two children?
Oh, it's Jane and I'm not even gonna cheat on this one because I had it
We've
written
said
down
his
already.
name more than her name. You got her name. So what's his name?
I got her name. It's Jane and
There
Michael.
you go. Okay.
Let's go.
Here's your next question. If a wonderful person named Jane or Michael were to approach you in the street and say, I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith, what would the correct response be? You want me to read that again?
Please.
If a wonderful person named Jane or Michael were to approach you in the street and say, I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith, what would the correct response be?
Who the f*** is this guy with the wooden leg?
What's the name of his other leg? Come on, that's like the biggest joke in the whole film. Remember because Uncle Albert says it, or Bert and Uncle Albert were talking about it, and then Mr. Banks says it at the end to the bank people, or the bank board, whatever you want to call it. Whatever. How many Academy Awards was Mary Poppins nominated for? And how many did they actually win?
I'm gonna go ahead and say it was nominated probably for 5 awards, and it only won 1.
All right. You want to know your answer to that?
Let's go.
You had 5 right, but that's how many they won.
Damn, they won 5?
They were
They
nominated.
swept?
They were nominated for 13.
Oh my gosh.
You were like you had 5 right, but just wrong for the wrong category.
Wrong category. Yeah.
It was actually 5 they won. So here's what they won. Okay, according to what this states here on this website, this gorgeous little epic of magical fantasy won Oscars for Best Actress in a Leading Role, Julie Andrews. Best Special Effects, Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, Best Musical Score, and Best Song. And you want to take a shot? What song won?
I don't want to say
It's
it.
not that song.
It's Spoonful of Sugar.
No.
It's
Chim Chittery.
my
Chim
favorite.
Chim Chittery is the one they won.
Chim
The
Chimmery.
other categories they were nominated for was Best Art Decoration, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Director, Robert Stevenson, Best Music, Scoring of Music, Adaptation of Treatment, Best Picture, and Best Sound and Best Adapted Screenplay.
Hell yeah.
So they were nominated for quite a bit during this time. Okay, let's go to your next one. Ready?
Nope.
What is the name or what is the address that the Banks family lives at?
Dude.
They say it in the beginning of the film. You don't catch on to it. It's Bert that states it.
I'm like, I have the movie on right now, and they're at a part where they're on the street, and I'm hoping maybe it shows
You
me
little
numbers.
cheater.
I'm not, technically, it's just right there. I'm using it to my advantage. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's 316 Know Your Role Boulevard.
Okay, Stone Cold in the Rock. No, it's 17 Cherry Tree Lane.
I knew that. That was gonna be my second guess.
You're really gonna hate me for the next one.
How many
You ready?
how many hair follicles does
How do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
okay. I'm gonna go ahead. Can we create this like a spelling bee here?
You want me to use it in a sentence?
How do you pronounce it again? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yay! You said it.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Okay, it's not a
All right.
rap song. Just to spell it out.
I'm not saying the word again. I'm
Is
just
it
gonna
a
fucking
verb, a
spell it.
noun, or an adjective?
Yeah. SUPERCALIFRAGILISTICEX. I don't know why that X. Not that's just one X. P I A L Idocious.
You're right, but I can see your eye being down quite a bit. You,
No, dude, I'm
you,
telling you, I'm not, man. I'm telling you, bro, I'm
you had
not.
your eyes closed. I can see your eye. You're like,
No, I was going like this. I was like trying to think, dude. I'm thinking, bro. I'm telling you, I was in a spelling bee in elementary
you
school.
got it right.
I know I got it right, bro. You can underestimate my power.
He was okay, Anakin Skywalker over here.
You always give me the benefit
You're
of
my
the doubt.
brother,
Well,
Anakin.
it's over now.
I got the high ground. You're my brother. You're my brother, Patty B. But no,
I hate
I
sand,
hate sand.
of course, and it gets
Free will.
everywhere.
This is stupid. Such a stupid scene. You know, it's sad when there was a hockey podcast I listened to, and the kid goes, "Oh yeah, I played. That was my first video game. Was Attack of the Clones." And the guy goes, "Do you love sand?" I tell you,
All
when
right.
we watch that movie, I skip right to the Geonosis scene, and that's all I care about. I watched Dexter, and I watched that scene. That's it.
I don't mind when he goes to see his mom and he ends up taking care of
Yeah,
the storm with the Tuscan Raiders.
yeah, it's okay, but it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
okay.
It's okay. It's not my favorite, but all right, bands. If you think Pat's wrong in his ranking, if you want us to go back to the way we used to do watch alongs, I would be gladly to sit with him and call him out on all the crap he's saying about this movie and be like, okay, look at it this way. But yeah, fans, let us know in the comments what you love about Mary Poppins. What do you enjoy about the movie? What's your favorite song? What do you not like about the film? Should Pat watch Saving Mr. Banks? Should we do Mary Poppins Returns? Let us know in the comments. Check us out, J4F Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Also, check us out on Spotify and YouTube. And without further ado, I turn it over to Patty B to take us out.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything. Thank you for having a spoonful of sugar so that medicine went down. Thank you as always. But remember, we do it just for Blitz.